Alright, class, can you tell me what these are? A human male in his late 40s asks his classroom of non-human teenage students. In the middle of the classroom are holographic projections of ancient human space probes. The Explorer 1 and the Explorer 2, Professor Grayson? Answers one student. Close. They are Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, which are... replies Grayson. The first and second human crafts to reach interstellar space. Another answers. Correct. And that concludes today's review, says Grayson. This information will be on the quiz along with the early vessels of 61 other species. You may now return to your quarters. Most of the students are itching to get out. All except one student in the back, a male member of a species of humanoids with tentacle-like growths on their heads. His species is divided into two subspecies. One with blue skin and slender features, and one with green skin and more masculine features. The student is of the blue-skinned variety. You are dismissed, Kaloi, says Grayson, as he walks to the boy's desk. Professor, I was wondering if I could stay for, extra credit in case I don't do well on the quiz tomorrow, replies Kaloi. You have already accumulated a maximum of 50 points of extra credit, replies Grayson. There's nothing else I can do for you. Oh, very well. I'll, go to my quarters then, Kaloi says with a tone of defeat. Grayson has known Kaloi for a few years. The boy is bright and used to be very engaged, but gradually became more and more withdrawn. Kaloi excels at engineering and even manages to keep a part-time job at the hangar bay. He balances work with schoolwork and babysitting his several half-siblings, which were sired by his mother's boyfriend, Grung, a member of the green-skinned subspecies. Grung always gave Grayson a dirty look at the parent-teacher conferences. Grayson assumed it was because of speciesism. Humanity is a vassal species of the Empire, and during the last war, nearly eradicated Grung's subspecies. Which side started the war is unclear, but Grung's subspecies were known to be proud slaver warlords, who kept Kaloi's subspecies as slaves before the Empire freed them. However, despite the freedom promised by Imperial rule, slavery still exists in the dark corners of this sector, hidden behind pleasant-sounding terms like indentured servitude. As Grayson prepares for tomorrow, Kaloi quietly enters his own quarters. His half-siblings bounce around unsupervised. His mother is busy cooking. Grung appears to have fallen asleep in his chair while watching a holographic documentary. Kaloi tiptoes towards his room, but Grung grabs and pulls one of the boy's head tentacles. Where is my dish cleaner and trash taker going? Asks Grung. Your dish cleaner and trash taker is over there, says Kaloi, as he points to the broken robot left to rust in its charging station. When are you going to order the parts to fix it? I don't need it as long as I have you and your mother, says Grung. Dinner for you, my master, says Kaloi's mother, as she walks into the living room with a dinner tray for Grung. Around her neck is a relationship ring. It is a glorified slave collar that is only legal because the wearer can technically remove it whenever they want. The one who controls the remote can induce feelings of pain or pleasure. Thank you, slave, says Grung, as he presses a button on the remote, rewarding Kaloi's mother with a pleasurable feeling. By the way, Kaloi is being disobedient, but I can't punish him properly until tomorrow. Can you be a dear and to order him to do the dishes and dispose of the waste? Kaloi, do as Grung tells you, yells Kaloi's mother, as Grung hovers his finger over the pain button. Kaloi sighs as he proceeds to do by hand what could be done by the robot assistant Grung doesn't allow him to fix. The half-siblings old enough to help are playing around or are glued to their screens. As Kaloi disposes of the waste, his heart drops when he sees a mountain of dishes. It would take hours to finish, leaving barely any time to study. After the quiz, Kaloi was once again the last student in the classroom. His head is on his desk, and he looks absolutely defeated. Grayson approaches him. What's wrong, Kaloi? You scored a 99%, asks Grayson. It's not 100%, says Kaloi. I have to get 100% in everything, or else there will be consequences. Grayson raises his brow. What sort of consequences?
Oh, I won't be rewarded, that's all, replies Kaloi.
Even when both parties are using a translator, Grayson could tell when a student is lying to him. He watches the boy nervously slink out of his desk. Oh, and Kaloi, you didn't mention it was your birthday. I would have asked the whole class to congratulate you, says Grayson, to cheer up the new young adult. Joyous birthday, as your people say.
Nothing joyous about it, replies Kaloi, before leaving the classroom. He could already anticipate what Grung would say.
99%! It should be 100%! Yells Grung as he whacks Kaloi. His half-siblings have mixed reactions. Some shy away in fear, others giggle with glee like their sadistic father.
I'm disappointed in you, Kaloi, says Kaloi's mother, as though she is rehearsing something.
The look of concern she used to have for her son is gone, replaced by pure apathy, followed by pleasure as Grung rewards her with his remote control. You're an adult now, Kaloi, and you live in my quarters, yells Grung. For you to get less than 100% is to disrespect your master, and I need to set an example for your siblings. Once again, Kaloi remains seated after class is dismissed. Grayson approaches him. Kaloi, you haven't been very attentive today, and your scores are much lower than they have been. The algorithm predicts that you may fail the course, says Grayson. You've asked for help before. I may not be able to provide more extra credit, but I can help you with questions, or anything else. Kaloi tugs on one of his own sleeves as he tries to hide something on his skin.
Professor, they said you did things during the war. Soldier things.
Grayson sets down his tablet and his on a desk behind him. Yes. Before I became a teacher, I fought for the Empire.
Many species fought for the Empire during the war against the slavers of my people, but, says Kaloi, I heard that humans are different. That before they joined the Empire, they fought and won against every vassal species that picked a fight with them. Except the Prime Imperials themselves. And because of this, humans are the only species other than the Prime Imperials allowed to serve as Praetorians, the Empire's elite.
Much of what you said is over-exaggerated, but yes, my people can be Praetorians, says Grayson. I'm glad you're keeping up with the course material.
Grun, my mother's boyfriend, says humans are the worst creatures in the universe for stopping the slavery of my people, says Kaloi, and that humans are also demons in combat.
Tell me, Kaloi, is Grun the reason you are suddenly so interested in Praetorians? Asks Grayson. Violence isn't the solution to every problem. Kaloi and Grayson stare at each other for several seconds. Then, Kaloi unrolls his sleeve. I see, says Grayson. Well, if you need something to occupy yourself with, I can arrange a makeup quiz for you. In the meantime, I need to talk to security. Hours after contacting station security about the incident, Grayson conducts research in his private quarters when he is informed of a visitor at his door. He expects to see station security requesting more information. Instead, he sees Kaloi, alone, shaken, and with bruises over his body. Grayson invites his student inside for a warm beverage.
Station security barely did anything, explains Kaloi. They asked my mother if Grung was hitting me. She covered for him. Then Grung made up a bunch of nonsense and gave them some money.
Grayson is all too aware how the further civilization is from the Empire, the further corruption spreads.
But that's not the worst part, Kaloi says with a sob. Grung stole my savings. I worked to save up for a ticket off this station, but Grung said I couldn't have possibly made as many credits as I did from working in the hangar, and that I must be a criminal somehow. He kicked me out of my mother's quarters because I'm a bad influence to my half-siblings. They say I can only come back if I agree to be Grung's indentured servant.
Grayson sees. Justice exists for children and adults, but not for those in between, who are practically thrown to the walls on stations like these. If it weren't for Grayson, Kaloi would only have two paths in front of him.
endure slavery, or do anything he can to survive, which has a high chance of either death or imprisonment and possibly slavery. Fortunately, there's a third option.
What do I do? Asks Kaloi. I'll do anything for you to make rent. Cook, clean.
That won't be necessary, says Grayson. I'll have a word with Grung. At the station's filthiest bar, Grung gambles away his ill-gotten funds. Then, Grayson walks to his table, sets his pulse rifle on it, and grabs a seat. Grung's acquaintances begin to draw their weapons, but Grung dismisses them. I take it you're about to make a deal with me, says Grung. I am, says Grayson. I challenge you to a one-on-one duel in the station's arena. We go by Imperial rules, loss by death or serious injury. If I win, Kaloi gets his savings back. If I lose, you get mine. Simply beating up Grung wouldn't help Kaloi, as Grung clearly has station security on his side. There would be nothing the civil courts could do either, as the gears of justice turn slowly in the fringes of the Empire. Only a good old-fashioned duel can help Grayson restore Kaloi's savings. Grayson has stayed fit after leaving the military, and although Grung can pose a physical threat, he is out of shape. Grayson is counting on Grung's greed and arrogance to cloud his judgment and accept a fight against a superior opponent. Best case, Kaloi buys a ticket to freedom. Worst case, Grayson eats canned food for a while. Grung laughs. A duel for a teacher's salary? Forget it. That's not worth risking my life over. How about this? Grayson says with a smile. You get my savings, and I become a one-year indentured servant for you, but only if you let Kaloi live freely. Grung rubs his chin. The opportunity to enslave a human, even for 1 year, is too good for him to pass up. Deal, says Grung, but I choose the arena layout. Also, we each get 2 weapons, inorganic or organic. Sounds fair, says Grayson. Grung shows him a hologram of the arena layout, which is reminiscent of a forest with one very tall tree in the center. Grayson formally accepts. He returns to his quarters to retrieve his Praetorian armor and knife, and inform his students via recording that class is cancelled for the next day. Kaloi is busy studying when he hears Grayson mention the word duel.
Are you serious? Asks Kaloi. I thought you were just going to talk to him. You challenged Grung to a duel?
It's no problem, says Grayson. I need the exercise.
You don't understand. People like Grung, they play for keeps, says Kaloi. He'll cheat. If you aren't dead, he'll change the rules to enslave you, and then we'll both be enslaved.
We won't, says Grayson. I offer to take your place.
You what? Asks Kaloi. But why?
You're a bright kid. You have your whole life ahead of you. My light dims every day. Besides, accidents happen to slave owners all the time, Grayson says with a wink. Judgment Day. Clad in his Praetorian armor, Grayson walks into the station arena to hear the cheers of an audience full of some of the worst scum in this part of the Empire. Grung stands in the middle of the arena. Duelists, present your weapons, an announcer says over the intercom. The floor of the arena is comprised of hexagonal columns that can be raised or lowered as needed to form artificial terrain. One raises itself in front of Grayson to serve as a table for him to place his pulse rifle and knife. Grung presents a sniper rifle, and a device that looks like a remote control. Several columns next to him lower to form a pit. Then, a massive, horrifying chained beast is slowly raised up to Grung's level by the columns. We agree to a one-on-one, yells Grayson, after cursing multiple times. We agree to 2 weapons, inorganic or otherwise, says Grung with a grin. And what is a weapon but a tool that kills? And what is a slave but a tool of the master? Grung presses a button on his remote control that gives the beast an electric shock, causing it to howl in pain. Then, the columns below Grung are raised so that Grung stands on a tower in the center, while armed with a sniper rifle. Other columns scattered throughout the arena are raised to form a forest of columns.
Grayson is on the arena floor, facing a sniper and an angry beast gunning for him. If Grayson had a desk in front of him, he'd smash his head against it. He let Grung pick the layout, but didn't specify whether Grung could pick the starting positions. "You may now begin your duel," the announcer says, as the beast is unchained, yet still enslaved by the shot collar. Grayson takes a position behind a column. If he stays at the edge of the arena, Grung has the advantage. If he gets within range of Grung, he is practically giving himself up to the beast. The only winning strategy is to distract the beast somehow, then move within range to shoot Grung. Grayson looks for the beast, but is nowhere near the control tower. The moment he looks to his right, the beast knocks him into the arena wall with its claw, causing him to drop his pulse rifle. The beast grabs Grayson like a doll, opens its mouth and lets out a terrifying roar. Fortunately for Grayson, there is enough room for him to pull out his trusty knife. He stabs the beast's arm, forcing it to drop him. However, just as he is about to grab his pulse rifle, Grung lands a shot just 1 foot away from him, forcing him to take cover behind a column while the beast licks his wound. "You stupid, miserable creature! I want you to kill the damn human!" Grung yells at the top of his lungs, before giving the beast another electric shock. The beast howls in pain, cowers and claws at its shock collar, seething in pain as it stares at its master. Its claws cannot reach the back of its body. Grayson uses this opportunity to climb onto its back and stab it from behind. The beast spins around, desperately trying to fling Grayson off, but he maintains a firm grip. The experience reminds him of the mechanical balls humanity introduced to the Empire, responsible for the injuries of many intoxicated beings, and banned in most places. Exhausted, the beast collapses behind a group of columns. Grung induces a shock, and another, and another. The beast whimpers, powerless to end its own suffering. The audience cheers as Grayson prepares to deliver a finishing blow with his Praetorian knife. But he catches something within 2 of the beast's 4 eyes. Despair. Genuine despair. The beast slowly closes them, anticipating the end of its suffering. Grung's people were but one of many that practiced interstellar slavery. Unlike them, humanity freed its slaves before traveling the stars. With his final blow, Grayson ends the beast's suffering by dismantling its shock collar. The beast's eyes open, is free. It immediately pins Grayson down. Grayson closes his eyes, preparing for the worst, only to be licked by the beast. "I'll never be able to wash this out," Grayson mutters to himself, before Grung lands a shot just 6 inches away from his head. "You stupid creature! Kill him!" Grung yells out. The beast stares at its former master, and lets out a roar that makes the whole arena fall silent. The beast bolts after Grung, who frantically presses every button on his remote control before noticing the shock collar on the arena floor. He tries to shoot the beast, but it nimbly dodges his shots. Moving as though it's in a real forest, the beast jumps onto the columns, pouncing from one to the next until it leaps onto Grung's tower. Like an excited kitten, it grabs Grung, throws him up into the air, and bites his head off. Kaloi waits in line for the next shuttle out of the station, and into a ship headed for the heart of Imperial space. He is approached by Grayson. "Professor, I can't thank you enough," says Kaloi. "If it's fine with you, I plan to attend the next classes remotely. I know subspace communication isn't the best, but—" "No need to worry about that," Grayson interjects. "You earned enough credits to pass the course. I have given you a high grade." "You did? Again, I can't thank you enough," says Kaloi. "Too bad I'll have to drop out of the program, since I'm moving to the capital, where hopefully—" "About that," says Grayson. "I sent the High Imperial Academy my recommendation letter. Your credits will be transferred." Grayson gives Kaloi a wink. Suddenly, the two hear a commotion. Approaching them is the beast from the arena, rechained and being pulled on a wireless leash, controlled by a hooded being. "Kaloi, right? This belonged to Grung. Some of the money he owed you from the fight was already gambled away, so they liquidated his assets," says the Beast Warden. "Here, take the leash. The beast will fetch you a good price." "No,
Go ahead and release it back on its home planet, says Kaloi. The beast seems to recognize the word home in Kaloi's tongue. It let out an approving purr and nudges Grayson, who gives it a farewell stroke. Long after Kaloi gave his final goodbyes to Grayson, he receives a subspace call from his mother while on the shuttle. She asks him to come back and babysit. He politely declines. Back in his quarters on the station, Grayson watches the shuttle from his window.
"Who knows, kid? Maybe we'll meet again someday," he says with a chuckle.